during the week, which I personally love. Our community seems like they kind of check out over the weekend, go touch some grass, which is great. Love to see that in the space. So, yeah, keep an eye out for Monster Medium number 5 now, I believe. In this one, we're going to be talking about more like a general overview of the space. So not as specific to game mechanics in terms of depth, and more about kind of the broader vision of the project, some issues we identify in the space, and what we're doing to combat them or solve them on our end. So yeah, just giving some people a little bit more to chew on in terms of like concept.
Awesome. Oh wow, awesome. Looks like you've got some all kinds of exciting stuff you can show us this week, including some leaks I think we might be able to have at some point here. I don't think I can throw those on stream here without it being incredibly awkward, but if you guys want to see some leaks of some content, make sure you bug the heck out of Palmer here, and they might show up in the Discord today. Just a little teaser there.
Yeah, we'll maybe general chat, or maybe AMA chat would be better for it. But yeah, definitely got a couple art leaks that we can give out to people. Things that I don't think people are expecting. I don't know if people are aware. They were working on some of this stuff. I don't know. Were you aware? But yeah. Do we have any questions yet?
Yeah, I don't actually see any questions yet. If you guys have questions for Palmer, make sure you throw them into the AMA channel or right here in Discord. Let's see what we got here. Are there? Here's a question from Sewer Monkey. Start us off here. It says, "Are there plans to postpone anything like token airdrops or any of the plans for bringing out different parts of the game because of the current state of the market right now?"
Oh yeah, really good question. No, we're not. So we're not looking to postpone it directly because of the market or anything like that. Our structure, we think, is built pretty well for a bear market. We're launching with a small group of players, and most of our tokenomic structure is deeply tied into game mechanics themselves. So we're not going as heavy on the staking DeFi side. We're going a lot heavier into the actual game mechanics of those tokens, so the syncs, and all of that is going to be necessary for fueling our gameplay. So we're not going to be delaying any of the token stuff as just strictly an adjustment to the market. I think it's more important to just be aware of the state of the market, not run a token out and have all this crazy airdrop volume expecting people to just go wild trading it, because in a bear market people are going to be less likely to go hard buying up tokens and all that. So I guess my short answer would be no. You can expect the tokens to be heavily integrated into the game itself, and not as dependent on what the outside market is doing. And the variability in the market's kind of one of the reasons we're structuring it that way. We don't want to have to make our game decisions completely dependent on the market. It's more something that we want to be aware of in our decision making, but not completely dependent upon, if that makes sense. We want to be the ones that are in the driver's seat, putting forth content, and we don't want any of that to stop because the market's not ideal. While at the same time, it's always important to be aware and not just roll stuff out in a market that's designed against it, in a sense.
That makes sense. If things get way worse even than they are now, would that change anything, or are you just, your plan is to just make sure everyone's aware of the market, but roll forward as planned?
Yeah, I mean, if things get way worse, that's something that's kind of out of our control. We're going to do the best that we can to adjust to it, but I would still say that we'd be looking to roll out our token structure all the same. Our game needs that functioning token structure to, operate. For our early alpha, at least, it's all on chain. The syncs are what dictate the gameplay. And so it's something that I think it would be kind of awkward to launch it without a token, even though we could make it work. So yeah, I think that I don't know. It feels weird saying like, oh yeah, we'll just acknowledge the market and that's how we'll make our decisions. But it really is kind of true. We're not we're not in a position to eliminate tokenomics from the game altogether. So if the market's not doing outstanding, like we're gonna keep pushing along all the same, because that's what's most important to us.
Well, that's really good to hear. Everyone's very caught up on the fact that I mentioned the word leak a little early in the AMA here. I should have waited. But for Billboy's sake, because Billboy gets a lot of questions, he wants to know any information you have regarding egg drop number 3 so that he has those answers for people.
Yeah, so egg drop number 3, we're going to be looking at about the same timeline that this egg drop had. So I have a sync with Mike right after this to discuss our full plan of attack. But I would think that we're doing about 1 week away. We'll be airdropping the eggs, and then about another week between the airdrop and the hatching for those.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I would like 4 variants to be included in that.
Yeah, I think
we've already mentioned
for sure.
Yeah, we've already mentioned that variants won't have the same economic implications that they had in the first place. At one point, we were going to gate like all earnings to variants only. We've moved away from that model specifically in favor of just creating better tokenomics. We've put our tokenomics under heavy review these last few weeks. We've worked really hard internally, and we've gotten a lot of review like externally from thought leaders in the space to really hammer that out. And what we've come up with is really innovative. We're getting really close to where we can start like releasing more info on that. But it's really nice, and it's kind of eliminated the need for gating economic stuff to variants only. It's more going to be about just general participation in the game economy. It's better for our game loop. It's better for the investment side of our game. Like, we want to be distributing rewards mainly to people participating in our economy and playing the game, whether they're a spender or not. We want those rewards to be cycled back into actual game participants and not as much to DeFi people, because those are the ones that are trying to be net like extractive to your economy. If that kind of makes sense. Like, when you get into the investor side and the DeFi side, you can sometimes attract a lot of unwanted profit seekers who don't care about your game at all and just want to flip the token. We want people that are looking to invest in the token with the interest of spending it within the game, as opposed to people who are only looking to sell for profit, because that means that it's coming at a detriment to all of you guys, our players. If we have people who aren't playing the game and are just looking to sell a token as soon as it goes up in value, then it hurts you guys, the people who see the actual value and utility of the token all the way through.
So that's good, because the other way, the old plan, you would have had it such that people could just hold variants and then reap rewards without ever playing the game and participating, and just basically make money off of everyone who is participating, who's not reaping those rewards. So that's good. That's probably good for the average player to hear that you're moved in that direction.
Yeah, and it also was going to overly gate the earnings to heavy economic participants. Like, if we did our due diligence and kept the supply of variants relatively low, then it means that it would cut out the bottom line of our players from earning. And that isn't something that we want. We want people to be able to enjoy our game and our economy from a casual perspective, and not just be like feeding rewards to the top 3% of players or something. So that was the other thing that we thought variants might lead to. Even though it's a very exciting concept, we think that we can do better with the integration of those now with our new tokenomic structure.
All right, next question from Darude. And on the topic of tokenomics, I don't even know what this question means, but I assume you will. It's, as terms of tokenomics, are we doing any bonding or LPing?
So a couple months ago, my answer would have been, I don't know what that stuff is. Let me ask Nat. We talked about it so heavily these last few weeks that I know these things now.
All right.
No, we're not doing bonding. We will have LPs, but they're probably going to have some sort of locking mechanism. We can't get I can't divulge too much of it, but essentially what we're looking at is we're going to do LPs. We're going to have staking leaderboards, and we're going to have rewards tied to those that aren't explicitly tokens as well. So like a multi-earning structure that's designed to reward our LP stakers and our general stakers with in-game resources in addition to tokens. That way, we're cycling as much back to our game economy as possible. Again, kind of going in line with trying to eliminate those people who are trying to come into the economy and be net extractive only, and not appreciate the gameplay experience side of it.
Awesome. Neuros would like to know, are there any updates, any new information on when a demo release might happen?
Yeah, so I'd say we're about a month out from that. We've made our adjustments internally to be more focused on getting that demo out. My problem as a game designer is I'm so bad about scope creep, and I keep packaging more and more things into this initial release, and it's really exciting because it gives us a really complete game structure, but I'm really trying to pull back the reins on myself and make sure that we're keeping it as like a minimum viable product, which is like a true MVP, like demo, what it should be. And so we're looking at a 1 month timeline for that roughly. And that's going to be to where we can get you guys something playable. And we're looking to have some stuff even sooner than that. So the problem with me having scope creep is that our initial launch currently is slated to be like massive, like in terms of gameplay content and components. And I'm trying to learn to trim it down into like phased releases. That way you guys don't have to wait for the entire bulk product. So keep an eye out these next few days as we start ironing out exactly like our plan of attack for the phase rollout. It's possible that we roll out like some UI and like dashboards and stuff that let you like view your assets and kind of mess around with them before like the actual game component is implemented. Hopefully that kind of answers your question, but with where we are currently, I think we have an opportunity to start prioritizing just some basic user functionality. That way we don't go from 0 to 100 all of a sudden. So yeah, keep an eye out for that in coming like days and weeks for rollouts.
This next question, I assume, is kind of for the safety of the player kind of question, because I would never want to do this, but Darude wants to know, can variants be used to evolve non-variants?
Yeah, they can, but the evolution would then become a variant.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't accidentally blow your variant on a evolve and you didn't mean to. Okay.
And even more so, like if you slot a variant into a core slot for whatever reason, like it'll become a variant through that method as well. So the idea is that if you tack a variant into that monster at any point in the developmental process, it'll become a variant.
Okay, so if you build up a whole monster, sorry to interrupt you there. If you build up a monster to your liking and then you get a variant, you don't have to build it again. You can just slot that in and your already built monster will become that variant. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And that functionality is kind of similar to the gold bonus. So like once a monster's maxed out, you'll still have the opportunity to apply certain bonuses to it, like the variant or the gold bonus, since that stuff is not as contingent on the monster level itself.
Makes sense. Do we have any more questions from anybody for Palmer, or should we just talk about what we want to talk about? By the way, do you have any idea? I mean, the eggs are hatching really slowly today. Is that just a Polygon network thing? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I don't know. I've actually been in meetings all day, so I haven't been as like up to date on the progress. I know Mike told me, hours and hours ago that the script should have completed, and that they should be viewable. I had a couple that were stuck, but they refreshed like 10 minutes later. So
okay.
So yeah, I guess try yours again, and if they still haven't done anything, then
there they
as soon as I get off this call, I'll talk with Mike.
Five
I
of the
got
7
rugged by
went.
my own project. I got all rares.
You got all rares?
Yeah, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 in my personal wallet.
That's what I did in
all
the
rares.
first hatchening. I got 14 out of 14 rares, but I see just now that I just made up for it and I'm back on track because I just got 2 epics. So,
Oh, nice,
all right.
nice.
I feel better now.
What were they?
I have a Venomite and a Leaf Munch.
Ooh,
And I have
those
2
are
eggs
solid.
that haven't refreshed yet, including the dark one, which I already know is going to be a Dust Drake. So I don't have to worry about that one.
That'd be so great. I know for a fact that there is a Dusk Drake in this hatch pool. I believe there are 2 monsters that are not in it that like didn't make it in the randomization.
Oh, you have the numbers?
Yeah, let me see. I don't know which monsters end up with which token ID, but I do know the counts for each one.
Gotcha.
So we're missing. Let's see. A Dawn Drake and a Shadow in this this bunch. So those did not inflate, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Let's see, Dusk Drake.
How many we got? my dark egg, so I'm hoping that live on stream here I get my Dust Drake.
Well, there are 2 out there somewhere that you could get. So maybe
let's do this. Streamer luck. Feel free to tell us about your awesome epics and legendaries you guys got today. And there it goes, finally. And if you have any more questions, make sure we get them.
Yeah, I saw quite a few. Some more legendaries than I expected posted in the chat.
Yeah, I saw several when I was going through just a minute ago.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell you guys are finding these, but if you're willing to share, let me know, because I would love to get some. Can't believe it. I'm going to have to go buy my own off the marketplace somewhere. Unbelievable.
I was tempted. There was a gold bonus 5 legendary, the only one in existence on the market, and I was tempted to get it. I'm not sure if somebody bought it or if they delisted it.
Yeah, I need to actually. I'll have to slot some time after this call to go scour the market, see if I can find any sneaky pickups. Doesn't look like there's anything.
So from your recent talks with your team, I know you were talking today. Is there anything else new that you can lay on us here as far as new ideas for the future that you've come across, or things that you've nailed down that are more clear that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so the main thing we've talked about is tokenomics, just getting a lot of clarity on that structure, and looking at what other games have like done recently and what's worked for them and what hasn't worked for them. One thing, kind of like I mentioned earlier, one thing we're seeing not work as well for games in the long run is heavy LP rewards. So the liquidity pools, normally they give you rewards for like staking stuff, your tokens, and it inadvertently draws a lot of investors who just try to like take money, as I mentioned, like out of the economy. And a lot of the games that have had more sustainable approaches have turned out to be the ones that cycle those earnings back into the game economy through like meaningful approaches. And so like, offering in-game rewards. So like, for example, if we offer monster cores or eggs through LP staking, as like an additive to the token reward, it helps further incentivize our community, and helps drive away some of those people who are not interested in the game at all. So kind of a protective measure for you guys. And then the other thing that we've been exploring a lot is, and again, I can't get too deep into it because our tokenomics people would kill me, but they've told me so many times, like, do not share this info with everyone. But I really, me personally, so pretend that this has nothing to do with our game. Personally, I have really enjoyed the concept of soft staking rewards. And so having a structure where you're not locked into your token stake for a certain period of time, but rather you just get like increasing rewards for staking longer. If any of you are familiar with Moonbirds and their staking protocol, They used a soft staking structure where basically the longer your bird is staked, in its, I think they're nests. So the longer your bird is nested, the higher your rewards go. And that's kind of the structure that we're looking to have too. That way people are not as directly locked into like some sort of set timeline. People aren't always like super educated through no fault of their own. People aren't always super educated on the implications of those locks. Like I myself have admittedly like messed up my locking mechanisms in a couple games that I've played. And once you click that button, it's locked in there, and it's like, damn, okay. um, so having a soft staking where people have the freedom to add and remove as they please is something that I'm personally in favor of, and I think that we'd really like to implement it for our Monster Champion staking as well.
And what will we be staking? The champions themselves?
So
the
no,
tokens?
so with regards to the soft staking, it'll be tokens. So we have that 2 token structure. You have Mons and you have Cents. It would look like soft staking Mons in order to earn Cents. And we would probably have like a leaderboard tied to that as well. So that way, in addition to getting like higher payouts for the duration of your stake, you get like higher points. And so your position on that leaderboard can dictate some like in-game rewards that you get as well. And people love to, and it'll be optional. We won't force people to divulge how much they're staking. But some people do really like to flex that on other people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Miracle Jester saying that his stake will be his retirement fund.
Yeah.
It very well could be. That's one of the greatest like feedback things that we've gotten from investors, and from VCs is that our game with a small early community is poised to like really reward the people that found it early. We have a very like deep game structure and complex tokenomics at this point. And so it bodes really well for, you guys, the early community, when we start expanding. And it's something that I mentioned this in the AMA earlier too, but we were kind of surprised to find that was the sentiment from the VCs. But they're like, "Oh, your community is like pretty small," and we're like, "Yeah, like we didn't do marketing," and and they're like, "No, that's awesome." Like we get contacted by a 10K project, and they've already reached everyone that would ever be interested in their game, and it's just like a steady drop off from that point out.
Oh, that's an interesting point. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, so they're increasingly like bullish. I hate that word, but they're increasingly bullish on projects like this that have a strong foundational community. And that's props to you guys for showing us such great early support. But it bodes really well for the longevity of a game because it means that you have space to grow and you have people that are going to welcome new entrants with open arms. And you're not. There are so many people in this space that we haven't reached yet, and that's really reassuring to like us and to the investors as well, which is cool. It's not something that we necessarily planned or expected. We were just like, we want to start with a small community because we like having that feedback. We like building with people, and we're not going to be blowing a ton of money on marketing. We're using our money wisely. And not that marketing is unwise, but yeah, so that was kind of our reason behind doing it, and then it's benefited us a lot in a lot more ways than we expected.
That's amazing. Unexpected benefits. Billboy says that they're bullish on projects with unbanned Billboy. Why is the banning or unbanning of Billboy such a topic in our community?
I don't know. I wonder, can you guys enlighten us? Did that stem over from Crypto Raiders?
Yeah, is that a
a
Kynan thing or someone else? Who started that? And I know that looked like I looked over and shushed Palmer at one point there, but that was me shushing my 4-year-old who was coming in to ask me something that was unnecessary. So,
well, maybe it was necessary. You never know.
No, it wasn't. He always just says, "I want to tell you something," and he tells me something that's completely unnecessary in the moment. But I'll get to him after the AMA. Who else has questions for Palmer here? This is your chance. You ask a question now, you'll be first up.
Okay, so this seems like a good midpoint in our call.
Uh-huh.
I will divulge the first leak. It's one of 3 of its kind that will be leaked during the call. But I think it'll be a good thing for people to see. It's nothing insane.
Check out the
There we
AMA channel
go.
in Discord right now, and there is a little something you can click on.
So we've got one of our friends, one of everyone's favorite characters. So we've begun going through and animating these guys. Getting them prepped for their attack animations and their video effects. But it's been really fun to start seeing these come to life. Devesa, our monster artist, he was so excited to see these moving around and actually like doing something. People have loved our art. We've gotten a lot of compliments on just like how like gripping the art is for people, and it's like kind of refreshing in the space to not see pixel art. So it's been really fun for us to be able to take it another step further and actually animate something and find a quality animator. Pixel art, I think, is awesome, and it takes a lot of talent to do that. But it has been a bit of a cop out for people in the space to, have rapid development. It's not as like time intensive to put it together and to make larger scale visuals with it. And then on top of that, the animation process is a little bit quicker because you don't have to put as much like detail into it, I guess. So we're really thankful to be moving forward on actual 2D animation. It feels good. So yeah, I think it'll make the battles a lot more involving for the player overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like the fact that the slime actually looks squishy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the way it's moving. It looks like it has the momentum a slime should have as it moves.
Yeah.
Is this?
And so we're starting with the commons and moving up, and so they're only gonna get cooler as we go.
That's a good idea, because then as your animators and whatever studio you're using for this stuff gets better and better at it, the more and more legendary monsters get the benefit of that improvement.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
I just had a question here and then it disappeared. Strange. Nikolai has a friend who wants you to make stuffies of these monsters, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Is there going to be any merchandising?
I've had
I know
a
that's
couple
not a big
like
deal right now. Not on the table, but
sure. No, I mean, in terms of development, obviously that's not been at the forefront of what we're looking at. But our monster artist, Devesa, that's like one of his like dreams. Is he wants these things to be tangible. He wants us to make, whatever you want to call them, like stuffed animals, beanie babies, whatever the proper like word that isn't going to get me like legal action for those things is.
Yeah.
Would be great. Like little plushes, I don't know, whatever. But I would love that if we have merch, maybe right behind like T-shirts. That would be like the leading thing that we could roll out. These things would look great on little plushes.
Yeah, they would. My kids would love them. I would buy several for them immediately if those were available. Miracle Jester is proposing that Shrubbit is the official mascot, by the way. I know you're partial to Moose Sprout, though.
I do love Moose Sprout.
Me too.
But since it is a starter, I have wondered if that like kind of exempts it from the conversation or disqualifies it from the conversation around like, because technically, at least game wise, Pikachu isn't a starter, unless you're playing yellow.
He's a secret starter.
So yeah, let's see. I would be interested to know what you guys think should be the game mascot. We haven't had like a full team discussion on it, but I have thought about it quite a bit, like myself, and I can't arrive on like a final decision. I like Moose Sprout the most, but I'm not fully convinced that it should be our final starter.
Make a discussion channel for it, a channel just for
I'm looking through them right
Mascot
now.
discussion.
They're yeah, maybe like a branding channel where people can make suggestions.
Can vote for
which
ones they think are the cutest or the
Madger,
best mascot. Does there need to be
might
one?
Be too scary.
Does there need to be one mascot? Do you think? You think that's a good marketing thing to have a single recognizable mascot?
I think it is a good marketing thing. I don't think that you like have to. Like, I don't think it's essential, and I don't think that we need to pick like just one necessarily. But I think it does make marketing a lot easier. You know, like whenever we make graphics now, we always tack our logo into the corner of it. And so that kind of going hand in hand with that, it's always great if you can tack like a certain monster to be like the visual or like the emblem for your game. I really don't know. It kind of has to encapsulate like the spirit and the theme of the game, you know, all in one monster. And I don't know if we have anyone that really does it justice quite yet.
And putting you
they're
on
all
the
so
spot
diverse
here,
from
what
one
is
another.
The spirit and theme of the game? How would you describe the spirit of the game?
I mean, I would say that it's like light and fun, you know? Like we need a monster. So I think one reason Pikachu works so great for Pokemon is because Pokemon's like a fun, happy game, you know, but with like a hint of competition. And I think that Pikachu encapsulates that so well. Because he's cute and he's lovable. Or maybe she. I think Ash's Pikachu's a boy. But you know, just so cute and lovable. But also has like that you know, hint of ferocity. So I feel like, you know, again, I don't want to compare us too much to Pokemon, you know, for obvious reasons, but I think that a mascot should encapsulate that, because that's kind of the vision for this game as well. Is it's a cute game with like, you know, a little bit of a competitive edge to it, and we need a monster that fits that. I think where I get stuck the most on picking the mascot is that you know, they all have elements, and it's hard to pick one true element to represent the entire game when there's only 5 total. You know, Pokemon's got like, 18 maybe. I hope that number's not too far off. I consider myself an avid Pokemon fan. The elements in Pokemon.
Maybe the Drakes are,
there
are
18
are the mascots because there's one of each element. The 5 Drakes. That way you don't have to pick
I mean, they
element.
could be, and maybe we make like an Omni Drake or something. Maybe that would be our like first like rule breaking monster that doesn't quite follow the trends of everything else. Man, I really like water. Water as in like our little otter friend. I think he would be literally any other cartoon otter. But he is good.
Very adorable. And he's dark colored, which I like know. Because I like dark monsters the most for some reason.
Maybe we should have a poll on it. I'm sure some people would have opinions. I'm interested to know if it's any different from people's favorite monsters. You know, like when we did our favorite monster poll, we got pretty diverse answers. So I'm curious to know if the same is true.
Yeah, people just all want their favorite monsters to be the mascot, or if they can separate the two.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, your opinions are being asked for, everyone, so feel free to
a lot of
express
good candidates. Yeah, I'm glad people like Water though. He's good. Let's see.
Well, there's a lot of opinions on monsters, but no new questions coming out from everybody here. And the Bill Boy thing.
No worries.
Is it Bill Boy or Bill Bowl? I can't even tell.
Bill Bowl.
It is Bill Bowl. I keep saying Bill Boy. Sorry, Bill Bowl. I thought that was an I for a long time for some reason. It does go back to Crypto Raiders, apparently, the banned Bill Bowl thing.
Okay.
That mystery has been solved.
Very nice.
So how, specifically, if you have any specifics yet, for this third drop that will come in the next 2-week cycle, what kind of rate of variant monsters do you expect there to be? Like how likely are we to get a variant monster?
So I haven't nailed down the actual percent yet. And it's not, it's somewhat arbitrary because if variants are just cosmetic, then it's more of like how scarce do we want these to be?
Mm-hmm.
Numerically, I think 5% would be good. I'm considering as high as like 10% for this egg drop, even though I think the naturally occurring variant rate should be much lower, like 1% or lower for the actual game. Um, I'd like to have it be a little bit exclusive, for this initial drop where people do have a good shot at getting variants. If you go too high, like if you go 50-50, then it really hurts when you don't get a variant. Like it stings a little bit more. So keeping it under that 50% range is important. Otherwise, I just feel neglected by a variant. Like you just feel like the world is against you. And I don't want people to feel that until we launch the game and I beat all of them in PvP.
I was gonna say.
So yeah, I'm thinking like probably about a 5% rate for the egg drops, and then the in-game variant rate will be much lower. I want it to be a bit of status piece. We still may have some like mechanical components that go with them, but mainly I want them to be something that people can just brag about, kind of like shinies in Pokemon. I mean, having a shiny Pokemon in itself doesn't do anything for you other than look cool.
Hey,
So
cool
that's
is
kind of where I
important in
stand on it
games.
right now.
We all want our
It
monsters to
is,
look
and
cool.
I'm someone who will probably try to get a variant. But yeah, there's definitely I liked the idea of having the earnings gated to variants, but it was going to potentially cause a lot of like complications with expansion as we decide to expand. We didn't want to lock people out of that opportunity. So I'm glad we're shifting to the cosmetic model for variants. Now it just becomes a matter of like, how hard do you want them to be for people to get?
So when you say shifting to the cosmetic model, is that all they are now? They're going to be cosmetic. They're not going to be the only way that you share monsters with other players. Like I remember you saying before, the variants will be the ones that you can share with other players, and that won't be the case either.
No. So now that we have more advanced tokenomics and more advanced leaderboard structures, we don't need to gate the earnings to variants only.
Okay.
Because we found better ways to gate it to all of our game participants instead of just those who are either lucky enough to get a variant or rich enough in tokens to buy a variant. So yeah, it's more shifting the power to a broader player base. Because in order to do that with variants, we would have to significantly increase the supply of those, and that's not necessarily something that's like beneficial for the player base as a whole. So yeah, keeping it more like game participation focused is healthier for the economy overall. And so with that, it means that we're going to have to rework the underlying thought process behind variants a little bit. So we can guarantee obviously that they'll have cosmetic differences. And then the challenge becomes like, how do we give them other advantages without making it game breaking? My leading preference right now is that variants would not receive a stat penalty when they are fatigued. So like, with the Pep God gauge moving down monster stats as it becomes like more tired as the Pep depletes. It would be great if variants could be like freed of that penalty or something. Something minor that is a player choice ultimately. So like, you don't have to refill your pep just because your stats are down a little bit. But some people might prefer to buy a variant and maybe save the money that they would have spent on monster snacks otherwise. So like some sort of thoughtful trade-off there that doesn't gate a feature entirely to the people that can afford it.
But it does reward people a little bit for getting that lucky variant drop other than the cosmetic. I like that idea. Yeah. It doesn't break the game, but it also feels good to get it.
Right. Exactly.
Awesome. Nikolai asked a question that the answer is no, but I'll let you explain it a little better just to clarify. So Nikolai has 5 nature monsters and wants to know if they need 5 nature champions to back each one.
Yeah, so the answer is no. You won't need a different champion for every monster. Picking just your strongest champion should be fine for that. And then kind of in that vein, it looks like the next question is asking about the utility for having multiple champions.
Yeah.
So we can jump right into that
Let's
too.
do it.
Yeah. So the biggest utility for owning multiple champions, which we were vocal about from the start, is claiming all the extra airdrops. Obviously, any project wants to increase their unique holder count. So we would love if we can find creative ways to help you guys profit off of your champions even more after the egg drops are done. So bringing in new entrants to the economy is the number one way to do that. You can benefit from having multiple in game, but not in like a crazy way. In my opinion, again, taking a step back from the developer side and thinking as a player, once the airdrops are done, I think I would rather have duplicate monsters than duplicate champions, because monsters can be burned into each other and champions don't yet have that functionality. And so me personally, I would like to trade my champions for more monsters, but they will have some in-game utility. One is that they can accelerate the growth rate of your monsters, so earning more elemental energy, which is used to improve your monsters, raise their max level, stuff like that. Champions will produce that on a timer. Again, it's not a crucial resource to where I wouldn't say that you should hold a bunch of champions exclusively for that, but it at least gives you something to do with them, so that they're not just sitting in your inventory doing nothing. Similarly, something we talked about earlier in the stream with Aperon, I believe is how the project is pronounced. Having our alliance staking to where it involves a champion and 4 monsters, so you're loaning an entire team to someone instead of just one monster or something like that, for that revenue sharing model. I think that would be the biggest advantage of owning multiple champions, is the idea that you can rent out multiple teams to other people because you have the champions to lead those teams. But that's not a feature that's a part of the MVP. So I'm not going to explicitly tell people to hold a champion for that when it's not part of our initial launch. It seems irresponsible as a developer.
Yeah, so for gameplay's sake, just for being the best you can be in the game, holding just the highest level of each champion type is all you really need to do to maximize your ability to excel in the game. And then beyond that, it's a matter of how much you want to participate in the airdrop economy and like you just said, the ability to share more teams and monsters with people.
Yeah, exactly. I would say you're much better off, if you have 5, let's say you have 5 nature champions and no other element. You're better off probably trying to swap one of the natures for a water, one of the natures for a fire.
That's what I've been doing.
And then maybe holding on to the other 2 to generate more nature energy, to increase the power of your nature monsters or something. But 5 of them might be overkill.
Yeah, exactly. I started with 4 out of my 7 being nature, so I've been on that exact same process of trying to trade them out.
Sure thing.
Bill Bull says, can we make variants from the egg drop 5 out of 5 gold bonus? It would be sad if we were forced to feed them if they are not perfect. I mean, it wouldn't matter, Bill Bull, because you could always, feed them to a perfect non-variant and make that one the perfect variant. So that shouldn't matter, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of touched on at the start of the AMA, once you burn a variant into any other form of that monster, it'll become a variant as well. The base will become a variant. So let's say you have a gold bonus 5 Moose Sprout and you have a gold bonus, 2 variant Moose Sprout. When you combine them, you will receive a gold bonus 5 variant Moose Sprout. So it'll take all the best features. Yeah, exactly. So it'll take all the best features of each of the components that are used to create it. The same is true for an evolution. So if you evolved them in that process, it would just become a gold bonus 5 variant bovine. Um, so yeah, no worries there. We don't want you wasting your variants either.
Yeah, I love that. I love ways to.
Oh, and yeah, I guess. Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, and I guess the same is true vice versa. Like Ferris pointed out, you could feed the gold bonus 1 to the variant, and just increase its gold bonus instead of swapping the variant over. That's also true.
The fake Billboy asks, are there any plans for champion affinity level other than the monster stat boosts? Will affinity level ever affect any other part of the game as far as you know?
No. So, well, actually, yes. So champion affinity levels will affect the monster stat boost, as everyone knows. But it'll also play into that elemental energy regeneration rate. So like I mentioned, like if you have extra champions, again, this may not be a part of like the initial MVP, because it's not as like integral to important game mechanics. It's more just like a passive resource generation that's not like it doesn't have any economic implications. But yeah, so the higher the affinity level of the champion, the more rapidly it'll generate that elemental energy. Again, don't make any crazy decisions based on that. It's just like a minor feature, like us paying attention to the detail and trying to bring, value like literally wherever we can to those like small components. But yeah, so a little bit of benefit, but nothing insane.
Neuros would like to know if the naming of all the monsters was a collaborative effort, or if there's a certain person responsible for the most of them, or how did the naming process go so far?
I'd say I named about 80% of them, probably.
All right.
More recently, the bulk of them, so especially like the first like 60%, I just named like on my own. Like I just no feedback. I was like, this is the monster's name. With the last 20%, I started collecting, or the last 40%, I started collecting more feedback. Most of the time, we still ended up going with the original name, but we at least had like a more collaborative process there. And then the more recent ones, so kind of that back 20%, we've done more of a team effort because I was just like, we gotta freshen it up a little bit. Like we're getting a little redundant here. I need you guys to chime in and offer some unique perspectives, and they've done great. So yeah, I think that our names have come out pretty strong, and it's been a fun team effort throughout. And I look forward to getting the community involved in the future ones. We tried that recently, and it wasn't the smoothest process.
It was not.
We got some interesting suggestions and some fun winners. And actually, I think that we ended up letting the person who won pick a name, and they ended up picking the name that I suggested. So we kind of came full circle and defeated the purpose of the community naming. But definitely down the road, and once we have a governance token, it might be more fun to give the community a few choices to pick from, and then the involvement is letting you guys actually pick from a list instead of
so you don't
create
end up
one
with a monster
altogether.
named Flamey McFlameface, for example.
See, I would maybe be okay with that as long as the name just isn't like. But yeah, we'll see. We have had a lot of people make like genuine requests to be involved in that naming process. So I'm not opposed to it.
All right, it's good to know.
I like getting feedback. It's more the challenge of like, can we get community feedback on a monster name without leaking art? So yeah.
We're getting some video lag here as we come to the last 10 minutes. Do you want to throw another leak into the AMA channel?
Oh yeah, I do. Okay, so speaking of our wonderfully named friend from the last naming competition.
Oh, here he is.
It was almost named Palmer. We ended up naming him Porvalone. This is because he's a sea sponge, and our artist wanted him to taste like cheese. That's like semi-important because we have another monster that's a mouse that like kind of floats on a raft, and we wanted it to eat this as like its primary diet. So,
oh my god, that's amazing.
Our mouse friend, and he consumes, and he consumes the sponges.
Does this mouse?
Have we not leaked him? Yeah, it's Flowtail. I totally thought that we had released him before in our sneak peeks.
Before? Is this a new leak right here?
Maybe we have not released Flowtail.
All right, Flowtail, a mouse on an inner tube, or on a tail. His tail is the inner tube. That's adorable.
Yeah, right.
Everyone's
this
excited.
Might be. Dang, should we do a 2-for-1 then? I might be able to leak his Evo as well. Let me see if I can find his art in here.
My vote is yes. We do an unexpected 2-for-1 Flowtail and his evolution.
I'm
hoping his
I totally glazed over that one then, I guess, in the process. Let's see.
I like that we can accidentally trick you into extra leaks.
Right? Must be nice. Okay, I'm scrolling back in the chat to see if I can find it somewhere. It doesn't appear to be in our file system yet, but I'm almost positive that I have seen him before because I think he was one of our earliest evolutions we designed. The evolution is called Rafttail, so very, very simple upgrade from Flowtail.
Flowtail, Rafttail. Does his tail become an entire raft?
But I love him. Not quite. It's more just a he's very true to like standard evolution mechanics where he's just like a little upgraded version of Flowtail. I know he's in here somewhere.
Well, if you can think while you're looking for that, a question I missed a little earlier, just on the topic of the Alliance and sharing monsters. Sasha's linked to the past wanted to know if PEP refreshes when monsters are used for the Alliance. So if you use someone else as a monster in the Alliance, do you use it as if it's full PEP?
Yeah, so we're gonna have to like do some fine tuning to make sure that all checks out properly because it is a bit of a slippery slope when you have like your own energy mechanic that like the borrower would also have to put up with. As it stands currently, like my immediate answer would be that it'll have its own pet mechanic to allow it to scale better with being borrowed by someone else. But that also depends on how linear the borrowing system is. So if you're loaning it directly to someone, then it would probably become their responsibility to maintain the PEP for that monster. If we go with the general staking route, where you're just staking a monster or a team to the Alliance and anyone can use it, or sorry, I'll correct myself slightly here. If you're staking a single monster, I found the Evo. Yay. I love him. So if you're staking a monster to the Alliance, just an individual monster, then that would probably follow its own PEP system. That way we could allow for that monster to be used more liberally across the entire Alliance system by all sorts of players. If you're giving it to someone specifically, then it would probably use like the standard PEP system. So they would then be responsible for the refills. And if you're giving them the entire team, we would probably allow the monster snacks to be packaged in with that loan. So like you give someone the team and you give them the resources. So that's kind of where it stands currently. Let me know if that helps and makes sense.
Yeah.
So the proper answer is that some of it's still up in the air.
Sorry.
That's kind of a newer development in terms of like, us thinking about it practically. Like if someone needs a monster loaned to them, why wouldn't they need like 4 of them? If they're like truly a new entrant to the game. So kind of trying to like broaden the horizons there. Just to adapt to more types of people. And our options there will improve as the technology improves. So we talked about it in the AMA earlier, but there are entire projects that are dedicated to building better like loaning functionality for games. That revenue share structure and the letting people like lend and borrow resources has become kind of a mainstay in the NFT space. And you're seeing projects like Palemos, which we're looking to have a collab with. So hopefully we'll have them in here for an AMA to give people more details on what they do. But the primary thing that they're doing is creating like a multi-purpose staking structure that lets you do like that loaning of game resources, which is interesting. You're seeing like entire things emerge to support that instead of previously where most games just do their own in-house version and that's it. So I kind of talked about that for a little bit, but I apologize.
The way that I've experienced this kind of type of mechanic in past games where you're borrowing somebody's monster, especially in a game just like this, it's been mostly because I have 4 monsters that go do a run or a dungeon or something, and they share the experience 4 ways from that dungeon. And but instead, I'll borrow somebody's monster specifically to pair with 3 monsters that I'm leveling up. So that it can clear the run by itself, basically, with my 3 fodder, my 3 low-level monsters that I'm leveling up, and then all the experience shares between my 3, and it doesn't take any of it. Do you see that being a process in your game where you're doing lots of runs that are specifically one quote farming monster that levels up the other 3 monsters that it's with, and that's what people will be borrowing monsters to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if that would be like the entirety of the borrowing mechanic, but that is one of the like specific scenarios where I see value. The other one would be like clearing a difficult dungeon earlier than you would be able to normally. So for example, maybe I have 3 epics on my team or 4 epics on my team or something. But I know that if I borrow this one legendary, I'm missing to clear this like certain dungeon. That would be challenging for me otherwise. So I'm going to want to borrow someone's monster for that. But then in exchange for helping me clear the dungeon, they would get some sort of revenue share in that, whether it be in the form of tokens or game items or whatever. So yeah, that's something that again still up in the air because we have to see how individual playership develops first to see like what players care about, what they don't care about, what they are looking to earn as they play, and what they don't care as much to earn as they play. Like for example, if we say you get to share the monster points that they earn at the end of every battle, and monster points just give you commons and uncommons, well then your incentive to load a monster is pretty low. Like you're not going to go through that trouble just to collect a bunch of commons. So kind of striking that right balance as we observe what the player base is interested in is going to be like a really good guiding principle for us there.
Is it possible that the rewards for sharing your monster in the alliance will scale with the difficulty of the content that people are using it in?
Yeah, most likely it'll be some sort of blend between token rewards and game rewards. And so the token rewards would be relative to how like often that monster is used. So like we'll have a leaderboard that keeps track of everyone's performance every week in dungeons. So perhaps your monster would get some sort of contribution to that person's leaderboard status, and therefore you would get a portion of the tokens that they earn for their leaderboard status. I know that was kind of like a snaky sentence, but
it makes sense.
Like essentially revenue share, like explicitly, and then also perhaps like a chance to share in the rewards that they get at the end of the dungeon, like immediately. So let's say you get a rune at the end of every dungeon, maybe you have a chance to get an identical version of that rune, or maybe if they find a monster egg, like you also get a monster egg.
That'd be awesome.
Stuff like that isn't explicitly token related, that could still be considered as like a sharing component.
So I hear that you found the upgraded version to show us.
I did. I found Raftail.
Raftail.
I will share him now. He is great. So I just want you guys to be prepared for that.
Wow.
He's outstanding.
He's eating a lot of cheese.
You may notice a bit of Porvalone.
That's very dark, but I love it.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan.
Right.
He's one of my favorites. He could be our game mascot. I mean, what a guy. But yeah.
Oh, he made a bubble pipe out of Porvalone. It sounds like I'm saying poor Valone, like Valone is poor. That tail really grew too.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, so like it's true to evolutionary mechanics, you know, just an upgraded version of the little dude. But yeah, he's a good one. Did a good job, Devesa. And I guess we'll do. I know we're slightly over time, and we got to wrap this up. But we'll do one more
okay
animation leak as well.
If you need to. Oh, leak number 3, animation leak number 3, right there in the AMA chat. That fire looks great.
So it's a nice, simple one, but yeah, I think it's good for people to get to see the fire and how that'll play in.
And these are all works in progress, right?
And again, these are all. Yeah, we actually just got these in today, so I'm excited. Their company's out really fast. I got about 20 of them today from the animators, so it's good. But they're like the commons and the uncommons, so it's not as exciting as some of the bigger dudes will be, but definitely a good step in the right direction. To me, this space is all about forward progress and incremental gains, and so that's what we have here with our little animation process. We started with sketches, then we got sprites. Now we've got little dudes that move.
That's super exciting.
So we're getting there.
And you were correct earlier, Bilbo. That was correct. So yeah, I don't see any other pressing questions right now. Is there anything you want to leave us with besides all these leaks before we take off here?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. I gave away so many leaks.
I know. We don't need any more leaks. We're good on the leaks.
Without even planning to. Yeah.
Hopefully no one
I'm trying to think of like primary agenda items for this week. Oh, yeah. So this week, one thing that I'm going to be diving into a little more, maybe I'll start leaking some of the skill descriptions for some of these monsters and like their skill sets and stuff like that. Again, for the MVP, what's the way to put it? Oh yeah, we need to do a stream giveaway. We didn't launch that, I don't think.
Yeah, I never saw you say anything about having one, so I didn't know if we were.
Yeah.
I didn't want to mention it, and then
point.
You were like, "No, there isn't one." I didn't want to get people excited for something that wasn't there.
No, that's good. Thank you for reminding us, Nico. Dang, I don't know how to run those. Bilbo, do you know how? Can you rescue me here?
Is there anyone here that has the power to do such a thing?
Bilbo does now. Satoshi has that power, and she's the one that usually does it.
Yeah.
Bilbo might have.
Whatever you do, don't add everyone in the Discord. Just do it.
Yeah.
So everyone listening knows to go click on it.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe. No, not that.
Yes, Bilbo, you are recording, but you. Oh,
okay.
You can change the screen. Okay.
Oh, Satoshi's here. Okay, we'll see. We'll see if Satoshi's able to rescue us.
What are we giving away, sir?
What was it last time? Level 4 light champion.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, we'll do a level 4 dark champion this time.
Level 4 dark champion. That is the last thing I need.
Let me confirm. I actually have one. I'm sure
you got to check the old wallet there.
Yeah, I should probably make sure that I actually own one of these things that I'm about to try to give away to people. All right.
So there will be a champion
Affinity
being
level.
given away, and Satoshi's going to put up a giveaway.
It will.
I assume in the giveaway channel.
Yes, that is where it should go. Dark Affinity level 4. Do we own one in the team wallet? I'd be amazed if we don't, because I feel like I've come across several of them now.
Yeah, you can always drop to level
we
3
do.
if you have to. You do?
We got some good looking ones, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
My Dark Champion's only level 1. So
let's see. Yeah, let me go look. We don't have a picture of the one from last time. Oh well. In the giveaway channel. So go navigate to it. I'm also going to edit it to make it visible to everyone. For those of you who have not yet gone through the verification process, I don't want to accidentally exclude you. So everyone should be able to view the giveaway channel now. But yeah, so we've got level 4 dark. We only have females for level 4 darks for whatever reason. And I think the last one was a light female. So yeah.
So the giveaway is live in the giveaway channel right now, everybody.
Pick them
Everyone
randomly.
listening,
So
this is for
put
you.
them in a number randomizer, and we will pick one.
So one dark,
and then instead of a number
champion,
randomizer, we will
4.
use our friend Moozers here. Pick a number 1 through 5.
4.
Might have some video delay.
Number 4.
4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Post this in the AMA channel.
You can see what the giveaway is. You have 10 minutes to get in the giveaway, everybody.
Number 4. Yep. I don't know why it's not posting the thumbnail. But oh well. You can click on it and see it.
That link is safe. Can confirm.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, kind of a sneaky looking dark element champion. Not a bad one to have.
Yeah, that's a really great one. I would love to have
yeah,
that.
OpenSea's been pretty bad lately. You're right, Neuros.
Yeah, having major problems today with it.
But yeah, that's all I've got. We won't sit around for 10 minutes to wait for the giveaway to end, but we'll ping you guys when it's done. But yeah, this week keep an eye out. I'll be working on those monster abilities, so maybe I'll leak a couple of them so that you guys can get a better idea of what those look like, logically. And that's the one thing I was saying is, visually they're going to look pretty similar at the start of launch because, the VFX is what takes like a pretty good amount of time. But mechanically, I can crank those out and do the balancing. You could do those with code only. You don't have to have effects to pair with it. So I'm looking forward to going pretty in depth with these. Happy to post some of them as I create them. Or really as I firm them up to get some of y'all's feedback. We have an example in one of our Medium articles. So if you guys want, go check that out. If you're kind of lost on the abilities that things will have, or trying to get a better idea of what those will look like. But yeah, looking forward to doing that this week. Getting y'all's feedback on them. That's all I've got.
Awesome. Super looking forward to hearing about abilities because that's where we get to really get into it and develop the meta of the game once we start seeing abilities of all the monsters. So everybody look for that this week. Look for a new Medium article this week. Get those eggs refreshed and show us all your new monsters that you've got that you're excited about, and sell me some really good ones cheap. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Palmer, for this AMA. And if you guys have questions during the week, make sure you post them in the AMA channel. We'll answer them next week.
Awesome.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Everyone.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.